Hey everyone, welcome back to Private Club Radio, your industry source for conversations, news, trends, and updates. I'm your host, Denny Corby. In this episode, I get to chat with an actual friend of mine, good friend of mine. His name's Ed Gaskell, and he is the general manager of the Southern Yacht Club. And his story to getting to SYC is very interesting because he used to, he's based out of New Orleans, Southern Yacht Club, that's where it's at. But he originally had his own tennis club years and years and years ago, had his own tennis club, but it got wiped out during Katrina, just totally gone. And the weird or sort of strange part is now the club that he manages, Southern Yacht Club, he drives past where his old club used to be. Now, before we get to this episode, a quick word from some of our show partners. Engaging new members is a breeze with the award-winning new member onboarding program by our friends over at Members First. Now, this is a unique welcome center and customized microsite aligned with carefully curated emails that make your new members feel appreciated and engaged. This program delivers a consistent process of familiarizing your new members with their club's amenities and programs to ensure that they're engaged by your club early and often. And this whole thing is custom and done in-house. There isn't any templates. There aren't any stock procedures. This is to ensure the right voice and tone for your club. The Members First new member onboarding program is the real deal and not a big time commitment for you or your club. It's 2024 and it's time to change the way you vet your new members. Some traditions are worth modifying. The new member process hasn't changed really in the past 150 years, relying almost solely on social relationships and casual interactions, but lacking in factual data. And this is where Kennis comes in, because the traditional application process tells you very little about someone's behaviors and character until now. Kennis has created an innovative and confidential, comprehensive applicant information gathering process that provides an unrivaled depth of information. The world of member vetting has evolved to a new standard, and Kennis is your turnkey solution to meet this new industry best practice. You can rely on Kennis to provide the facts that you need to make fully educated member decisions, because what you don't know can hurt your club and your members. To learn a little bit more or to set up a call, head on over to membervetting.com, fill out the form. You're going to have a chat with Paul Dank. It's going to be good. He's a great guy. Also, be sure to check out our episodes of Member Vetting here on Private Club Radio. And now, let's welcome to the show from Southern Yacht Club, Ed Gaskell. Was it your racket club? Yeah. We owned it.
It was on land that was leased from the Orleans Levee Board. And we actually had an agreement to build a high-rise condominium on it the summer before Katrina.
Oh, so you were going to take down the courts anyway?
Yeah. It was going to be a $50 million project. And, of course, Katrina, put the kibosh on that. It was right next to one of the levees. So it's green space now. I mean, there's nothing there. There were a row of townhomes that were along the other side of the levee. They demolished all those, so any areas adjacent to the levees are now green space. And of course, they fortified them where they could. Although those were earth levees, that they weren't affected by Katrina. The ones that failed were these inverted T levees. So you had concrete here, you had sheet pile like that. And eventually they just failed this way.
Yeah. What was the racket club called?
West End Tennis and Fitness Club.
And did you build it? Was it there?
What
was that story?
It was there before. Purchased it from the previous owners. Did a bunch of renovations to it. It was a small club, 6 courts, swimming pool, fitness center, and a bar and grill. But had it for 15 years.
Wow.
Yeah.
And then evacuated and gone.
Evacuated, came back to the city December of 2005, trying to figure out what to do. Bocage hired me in January of 2006. And was there until May of 2019, so 13 years. And then here for almost 5 now.
That's Southern Yacht Club. What was going on before you had West End? Were you still in the club world? Or was
Right
that your
before-
first intro
no,
into it?
That's when I was coaching at Tulane. So I was the tennis coach there for 2 years. Prior to that, I was working at some other clubs on the North Shore. One on the South Shore, one on the North Shore. Played for a while.
What was it like going from owning your own place? Well, I mean, you worked at clubs. What was it like going from like there to now owning your own club to now having a board?
Well, I had a board at Bocage too.
Oh no, so I meant one step back. So if we go to West End, because West End you owned it, right?
Right.
So that had to be a challenge going from you owning it and it being your own jam to now going to Bocage and having a board.
Right. So, when it's your place, you're the tennis pro, the chief cook and bottle washer, the plumber, the electrician, it was,
Everything.
yeah, you had to be handy. And then you go, it was nice going to a place where there was a board, because now everything that fell on your shoulders before, even though it's the GM, and when I went to Bocage, I was the GM and tennis director. Instead of everything literally falling on your shoulders when you're the owner operator, at least some of that's deflected when you've got a board, that's you're working for.
Yeah, and fiscally probably a little less stressful as well too. now it's fix everything before you're like, maybe we'll wait till next week.
Right.
How many members did you have at West End?
Gosh, 500-600.
Wow. So you must have been cranking every day. The courts must have been slammed.
We were doing well, yeah. Hosted a lot of events, leagues, tournaments. We were very busy.
Was there any big differences or changes going from West End to Bocage?
Well, Bocage was just a huge, much bigger facility.
Yeah.
6 courts
now,
to 22 courts.
And what type of, so obviously, so what, you're going almost 4 times the size. Is it 4 times the work?
Well, they had a bigger staff at Bocage too.
Yeah.
So, where was a small staff at West End plus me doing everything, being on the court, doing the accounting, doing the repairs when needed, I remember telling Elsa one day that, hey, it was a pretty nice day at work. I not only didn't have to do it myself, but I got to tell somebody else to do it, who then did it. So that was nice to have a staff that was, we had different departments even. You had a maintenance department, you had a tennis department, accounting staff, admin. It's good. And of course now it's even bigger here.
Yeah, and now you're at Southern Yacht Club. So now how is that transition going from rackets to now boating?
So it's funny, everybody knows me from a tennis background. They want to know how many tennis courts there are at Southern Yacht Club. And when I tell them there aren't any, they want to know what I'm doing here.
So what are you doing there?
So yeah.
What's been some of like the bigger I would what were the bigger challenges, or were there any, I don't want to what word I'm looking for, any things that caused you like I don't want to say anxiety, that's not the right word, but like it had to be a little anxious going into that scenario, being told, I don't want to say because you're still managing a club at the end of the day, but what was that transition like
From Bocage to the yacht club?
Yeah.
So there's a huge focus on food and beverage here. We've got a lot of regattas, but there's a lot of volunteer staff that help with that, and we have a waterfront staff that deal with all the boats. But the food and beverage component here, with the number of events that we do and the a la carte dining, is almost 40% of our revenue.
Wow.
Yeah, it's huge. So
How much of the revenue was from food and beverage at Bocage?
So, not as much, just because here we're a facility where we can have member dining and events at the same time. There it was, much smaller. So the events that we did have, even when they would take over the whole place, they're not the size of here. I mean, we've got small events here, anything from $1,000 party to a $75,000 party. And there it was, maybe 2,500 might have been your biggest party.
Oh, wow.
So here it's much bigger.
Oh, yeah, I guess. Oh, yeah, because the Bocage only had that one big main room, and then you had the outdoor by the pool area, and then Southern you have the big ballroom that has the
We've got the
cloud
air wall.
walls or whatever. Yeah, the air walls. There we go. Cloud walls. 6
Right.
to 1. And then you also have the smaller. Oh yeah. Okay. How big is your staff there at Southern?
We're 50 year round, 70 to 75 during the summer. So we run a sailing camp where we have additional people, and then swim team.
Concert Golf Partners is changing the game one club at a time. Since their inception in 2001, they've been on a mission to preserve and elevate private clubs, pouring capital into enhancements that matter. But what sets them apart? These aren't your run-of-the-mill operators. They are a dedicated team with a passion for enhancing the private club experience, both on and off the green. It's their commitment to maintaining the club's unique identity while executing strategic improvements that boost the overall experience and financial health. With Concert Golf Partners, your club gains access to a network of enhanced properties, reciprocal play privileges, and a future free from the burden of debt in outdated facilities. They're not just building better clubs, they're crafting lasting legacies for members and communities alike. If you'd like to learn more about Concert Golf Partners or recapitalization or learning how your members will have no more assessments, head on over to concertgolfpartners.com, set up a confidential call with Peter Danula, and that's it. Simple as that. Also, be sure to check out our episodes of Board Chats here on Private Club Radio, brought to you by our friends, you guessed it, Concert Golf Partners. Going from the racket club to a yacht club, what are some of the biggest challenges that you've faced in terms of like a general management position?
I mean, I was so much in the tennis world before, it was kind of hard to not have that be part of my daily routine. But what's been challenging here, but satisfying in the way that we've tackled some of the issues that this club had in terms of technology, communication, website. It's been a pleasure to kind of mentor the staff here, to do a little better job in interdepartmental communication. Simple thing like a closeout report at night that gets emailed at night that our multiple staff gets, so that in the morning when our maintenance engineer comes in, whatever needs to be fixed gets fixed, and everybody's in the loop with communicating. Which we've got two-way radios now. We've got the email capability, and that wasn't going on before I got here. So just the communication aspect between the staff, and the same sort of thing at Bocage. I mean, when I got to Bocage, they had a pager system where if they wanted to get the maintenance guy, they'd page him, and then he would have to come find you, or you'd have to go find him. And so we installed the two-way radio system there. So between the radio and then, of course, everybody's got a cell phone now too. Nobody could hide because we were either getting them on the radio or getting them on the cell phone. And then
you mean like a legit old school pager?
Yeah, literally. Of course, this is 2006, right? So, I mean,
pagers were still all the rage.
Yeah. So,
and now for a while, you were living still out in Baton Rouge and traveling in, right? You're finally still now you just have the place in.
Yeah, I commuted for about a year and a half. So the funny thing is, one, I drive past the old West End Tennis Club on the way to and from work every day, which is sort of weird. Although, right?
Twice a day.
Two, one thing that people didn't know about me is that I actually grew up sailing and did a lot of it and knew quite a lot about it. So it's funny, when Lee took the job here, I said, "What do you know about sailing?" He goes, "Nothing." I was like, "Well, here, let me give you a few pointers." So actually, when I took over here, it was actually a good mix because, like I said, people knew me from the tennis circles, but I actually grew up sailing. We started with a day sailor. We had a 30-foot boat we do summer cruises on, all up and down the East Coast. So it gave me an ease of falling into place here and being able to speak the lingo and mesh with the yacht club people.
I can just imagine you coming in and trying to implement all these things. It's like, yeah, the guy before you was so much better. He already had all these ideas. Yeah. They were just all yours. How many members do you have at SYC?
1,600.
But a lot of those people are also members of other. I believe in that whole beltway, there are members of a couple of other yacht clubs, or they're members of a tennis club or some other things as well too, right?
Well, interesting thing about a yacht club is the reciprocity from one club to another. Country clubs, racket clubs really don't have that, but since people on boats travel, yacht clubs have always had this reciprocity aspect to them, where if you show up at another yacht club, and of course you always want to communicate ahead of time that you're coming, because if you're on a boat you need to arrange docking, etc. But you can use a reciprocal club as if you're a member, and we're in what's called the Gulf Yachting Association. From Texas to Florida, there's a certain number of clubs in the GYA. All you have to do is show your membership card from your home club in the Gulf Yachting Association. You're welcomed as a reciprocal member. But the cool thing about SYC, which is known around the world, you can go to Hong Kong, Australia, New Zealand, London, Spain, and get a letter of introduction and go visit yacht clubs all over the world. It's a very cool thing. And that's one of the things we promote when we have a new member welcome reception. We always let them know, hey, this is quite an entry into yacht clubs anywhere in the world.
And there's a lot of history at SYC too, right?
A lot of history. Second oldest yacht club in the country. Started in 1849. This is actually our 175th year.
Oh, that's awesome.
We've got a big gala planned in October. So, 175 years. So the really cool thing in our trophy case, we've got 2 trophies from when the club was originally formed. It was formed by some guys on the Gulf Coast in Pascagoula around 2 regattas, and the cups from those first 2 regattas we actually have in our trophy case here. So again, when we have our new member welcome reception, we bring them out of the trophy case and set them on a high top table that's got a nice tablecloth underneath it. So when they're watching the video that talks about the history of the club and these 2 trophies, they're sitting right there in front of them.
And they were able to be recovered from the hurricane.
Yeah. So for Katrina, which the club burned down in, many of the trophies were taken off site or stored in a secure location, but some things weren't. One of the trophies that was lost was the Lipton trophy, which was actually given to the Southern Yacht Club by Sir Thomas Lipton, who spent some time in New Orleans as a kid. And so there's this annual regatta in the Gulf Yachting Association called the Lipton Cup, and it's been going on for over 100 years. So the original trophy was actually burned in the fire, but a replacement was made, and if you look at our history video on our website, it talks about this trophy that was replaced by the original silversmiths that made the first one, so they call it a true second original.
Wait, the same people who made the first one made the second one?
Exactly.
That's cool.
Yep, and the Lipton Tea Company had it made, fronted the cost for doing it, and then gave it to the club.
And now I can't remember. Did they make it look older, or did they just recreate the trophy?
It's an exact copy of the first one.
Gotcha. Oh, that's so cool. That's so cool. What are the challenges of working at a yacht club compared to, other clubs or a lawn tennis club?
So if you run a tennis event at a club, and at Bocage, we ran regional, national, events, sizable events, but everything has sort of a schedule. Weather may play into that. But at a yacht club, if you're hosting a regatta, maybe the wind isn't blowing, so they can't sail. And there's always a food and beverage component of the regatta. So while you're supposed to have your evening function at a certain time, the wind may be non-existent, and all of a sudden they're coming in, and now they need their food and beverages, 3 hours early, when you're not prepared to do that. But if you're at a yacht club, you know that there's always plan B.
What advice do you have anybody getting into the club world now? You've been in it for so long, ingrained. Newer people coming into the industry, what advice would you have for them?
Yeah, technology is such a big part of it now. I think that's, being able to understand financials and to understand what's going on with technology are the two biggest things. I was fortunate to install a certain club software at Bocage, and was even more fortunate that the yacht club was using the same type of software, so it was an easy fit rather than having to come in and learn a new type of software. And from that, it was then easy to upgrade what was here. But I'm understanding the back office side of it, the point of sale side of it, the website side of it, and it's all integrated. We even added a branded app that we have now that people use.
Nice.
Technology and the financial side of it are the two biggest things. And of course, you got to be personable too. At any club, it's the happiness business, right? So you got to make people happy. That's why they're here. And customer service. Those three things are probably the biggest aspects of club life.
Gotcha. Mr. Gaskell, it has been an absolute pleasure. I appreciate you. Thanks for being on Private Club Radio and being a good friend.
My pleasure. Good to see you as always.
Thank you so much for being on the show, Ed. Really appreciate it. If you are enjoying the show, enjoying the content, we always appreciate a like, share, and subscribe whenever you can. Share it with other friends, colleagues. It means the absolute world and does so much for our channel. So thank you. If you haven't done so already, sign up for our newsletter. Head on over to privateclubradio.com, right up on top, and get all of our weekly content delivered nicely and organized to your inbox. That's this episode. Until next time, catch you on the flippity flip.